Enjoy all episodes of the RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.
Do you love the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders? Then support the show that's currently ranked in the top 10 shows on Spreaker.com in the wrestling category, on Patreon.com, and get exclusive access to new original content, including our 30 with Lee series, bonus and vintage RCWR episodes, exclusive guest interviews, prize giveaways, online community chat, live show call-in features, and so much more. Support the RCWR Show on Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Once again, that's Patreon.com/RCWR Show. The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders, entertaining you since 2011.
Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Yeah, what is going on? It's your man right here, the one and only Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. You are checking out an all-new RCWR show coming at you right now for Tuesday night of October 10th, 2017. What is going on, my pretty babies? Coming on a little bit live, a little bit early, I should say. Yeah, coming on early. Was actually supposed to come on a little bit after 9 o'clock, but I got sidetracked trying to do my best to roll myself out of the bed. I had my alarm set, right? And I had it all nice and planned. I had it all nice and set up. I was supposed to come home. I was supposed to catch up on a little bit of TV. I was supposed to work on some audio for a couple of new clients. And you know what? I did right. I came home. I had a bite to eat. I kicked on back. I watched a little bit of my favorite shows on the DVR, trying to work my way to Monday Night Raw. Next thing I know, oh man, I'm so tired. I need to take me a little cat nap. Well, you know what? A little power nap. You know how some of you all are. I am like it myself. Basically, it's like, oh, I need a power nap. So you get in about an hour, 90 minutes, and then you're good to go, right? Yeah, nah, that didn't work out so well. 90 minutes turned into basically 4 hours, and I actually was sleeping 20 minutes into SmackDown. Luckily, the last thing I was watching as far as live TV goes was SmackDown. So I actually was able to watch SmackDown from the beginning all the way up to now, considering what all is coming about. As right now, we got Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode squaring off on the microphone once again. Yeah, man. My good old buddy, my broadcast partner, the evil genius of professional wrestling, Titus Machiavelli, is going to be stopping by in a few seconds. I am very pumped. I am very ecstatic for that. We'll be bringing him in about less than 5 minutes. However you're checking this episode out right now, be it live, especially live, do me a huge favor. Share the link, especially if you're following the show on Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you share those links, retweet, Google+. Click on that heart/like icon. Get it up there, man. Get it up there. And of course, for those of you that's going to be checking this out later, on demand, on the downloads, hey, I appreciate the love and support as always. Yeah, we're going to have a nice, fantastic show. I'm telling you, for some of you all, it may be a little bit of a dramatic departure from what I usually cover. Now, for some of you all, it may not come off like a dramatic departure. For some of you all, it may actually be pretty wow, that was intense. That was pretty heavy. That was pretty deep. I'm telling you, if there was anybody else to play off of. My man Titus is definitely the one to play off of. We like already had outlined past couple of days what all we wanted to get into. It's going to be a fantastic show. I'm looking forward to it. Depending on if Titus had saw the pay-per-view last night, we may talk about the Hell in a Cell event. Otherwise, I will definitely just save that for maybe after we're done talking with Titus. But he's going to be on here for pretty much a majority of the show, so there may be some topics that honestly we'll pick his brain. We'll find out what's up wrestling wise, because I know right now he's honestly been mainly busy with what he's been doing down at the NRW promotion, and he's got a huge announcement with regards to NRW wrestling in general. So we'll let the man himself tell you about that in a few seconds. Now more than ever, I should really be having closed captioning on, because it looks like Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are having one hell of a talk, man. I'm telling you, if I was just flipping through the channels right now, I would swear it looked as though Dolph Ziggler was arguing with Bobby Roode over like what they had on their burger at Red Robin. I mean, that's just honestly how it comes off. It's like I'm seeing way too much freaking talking going on here. Can I just say this with regards to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event in general? For the most part, it was a decent pay-per-view. I will definitely give it that. Overall, I would say probably a 7 out of 10. I think most people are probably in that ballpark, somewhere between 6.5 out of 10. I'm definitely standing strong at a 7 right now. Hey, as always, you can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm all over the place. Use the keywords THERCWR Show. Yes, my pretty babies. And make sure you also show some love and check out the Patreon page over at patreon.com/RCWR Show. That's patreon.com/RCWR Show. I've got me a nice, tall, cold, refreshing beverage over here. Got me some Dogfish Head. This time, not my 90-minute IPA. This time, I've got my 60-minute IPA, my India Pale Ale. And you know, there is actually a Dogfish Head restaurant right around the corner from where I live. I BS you not. This guy with two thumbs is going to be heading over there in the coming weeks. I'm curious to see if I could even buy a couple of cases from them directly. We shall wait and see. So excuse me if from time to time you may hear me take a sip of this nice, tall, cold, refreshing, dark beverage here. I gotta have some right now. Yeah, I would love to have our show sponsored in part by Dogfish Head, man. Let me tell you. Hey, on that note, let's go ahead. Let's bring in the one and only Titus Machiavelli. We're going to try this out here because the last time we did this whole connection stuff, we had some issues and I couldn't hear him and then he couldn't hear me and all that good stuff. Or I think the other way around is, I think I could not hear him, but he could hear me. Alright, so you guys that's listening live, I'm going to be relying on you all in the chat to let me know if you can hear Titus. Okay, let's call Titus. Titus is calling right now. Okay, let's see what we got here. And let me try this, brother. Hang on, don't say nothing yet. Maybe I got to switch out. Titus?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, Lee.
Hey, brother, how the hell you been?
I've been. Yourself?
Oh, fantastic, man. Life is good, my friend.
It's been a minute since we've, chatted on, not texting, but actually chatted,
Yeah, like chat. We gotta do it, like, more often, man. Shit. God.
No doubt. No doubt.
I think the last time we chatted, like, chatted was, like, God. Was it even this year?
I don't think it's been this year, brother. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, see, we definitely got to improve on that.
That crap's got to stop.
Yeah, that's not right, man. What's been shaking with you, man?
Just living the dream. Just not sure whose dream it is.
Oh my God. I hear you, man. A lot of crazy stuff that's been going on, and we're going to dive into it, man, because I'm like, when I forward you some of the topics I wanted to get into, I'm kind of going, I can't think of a better person to play off of than my good buddy, because I'm like curious about some of the things that I wonder what Titus thinks. So, and I'm telling you, Titus is unchained tonight on this episode, man. Like we're just balls to the walls. That's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like the Accept song, balls to the walls. Titus, you said you did not check out the pay-per-view, right?
To be completely honest, I have not watched an episode of professional wrestling, WWE, anything like that, since the Monday after WrestleMania.
Now, if you don't mind, take all the time you want. Let the folks know why, because I'm sure you're probably going to have some go, wait, what?
Well, I fought the mainstream, anti-WWE. As a guy who's worked in the business for, enough years, you wait for the creative to kind of build. You wait for the creative to kind of come to its crescendo. You're waiting for it. And I got to be honest, I got tired of waiting for it to improve. I was not finding enjoyment from the WWE programming. I wasn't enjoying the character development. I wasn't enjoying the storyline arcs. WrestleMania was flat for me. And, the night after WrestleMania is always just crazy. And this year it was just sort of subdued. And I think that's the tone of what people are feeling. They're just, and I've been watching WWE since, I'm going to date myself, 1986. All right? With a small gap, after I graduated high school. Like most guys, graduated high school, start living life. It was during after the steroid era, 92, 93, 94 time frame. But I've watched pretty religiously, since I was a kid. Definitely have watched religiously since, I got to be honest, since before the Attitude Era. The Nitro, and I'm talking, I've been watching for 20 years, and I just can't watch anymore. I don't find entertainment in it, and especially 3 hours, man. 3 hour Raw is just too much.
I agree. No, I mean, trust me, I know exactly where you're coming from, because for me, I've been noticing just this calendar year alone, and I've been at this since 2011 doing the podcasting and all that. 2017 alone, I'm being straight up honest, I'm not just saying this, I think longtime listeners can definitely kind of tell what's been going on with me and my personal life in a good way, mind you, but 2017 alone for me has had to been the year where it's been you know what, I'm going to phone this one in, I'm just going to take the night off, you know what, that really is not enough to make me even want to do a damn show. Wait. I got to talk about this? About this. This was weak. And I'm expected... Yeah, I'm one of those type of people, if I don't have anything nice to say, well, at least offer constructive criticism, right? But then,
right.
To come on week after week after week, and I'm in that same funky mindset, it's okay, maybe I've been watching this a little bit too long, and maybe for little Timmy out there, Raw was fantastic, but I've seen so much from the viewing standpoint, and then having friends like you and others that are involved in the business, I'm kind of hip to certain things, so I'm kind of okay, I kind of know what to look for from this aspect. For me, a lot of times, it gets redundant, and the challenge in trying to get the motivation to do the shows. I will be candid, now more than ever, what's honestly motivating me to try to do the shows, the advertisers. I have advertisers that, hey, I came across your show and
I like what you do. I like your portfolio. I want to hire you. That's honestly at this point the only thing that's keeping me like motivated, because I can't tell you, Titus, how many times my girl has said to me, "Are you ready to phone it in?" We've had the conversation at least 5 times this year. Are you ready? Are you ready to retire? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm telling you, right after I did, you know, I did Awesome Con, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right after I did Awesome Con, Tammy was like, "What a good way to go out on a high note." She's like, I know your schedule's getting a little bit hectic. You're not really feeling wrestling like you used to. You know, you just did Awesome Con. You think maybe you want to go ahead, phone it in? You want to be done? I'm like, thought hasn't crossed my mind, but honestly, advertisers keeps me going right now, and not to mention long-time listeners like Razor, long-time listeners like Brendan, the community over at Epic Sports. It always pleases me when I get somebody new that goes, "Hey, I checked you out for the first time," and I honestly, all that combined is like keeping me going right now. Right. But like, if it wasn't for that, dude, I'd have been done a long time ago.
You know, it's really easy to do a podcast if all you're going to do is bash what you see. There's so many podcasts that run right now who just, you know, badmouth everything that goes on wrestling, and you can do that.
Right.
That's not my cup of tea. That's not your cup of tea.
No.
And so to do something, you know, you're going to bash what needs to be bashed. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But you want to have a positive message and have something to be positive about. And it gets really hard to go, yeah, this pay-per-view was okay. This Raw was all right. I got tired of feeling that way. And wrestling in general is, I think, taking a change. And I think that's part of the world as a whole. If I want to get too deep, there are some people who do think WWE is great, who love it. I see it on Twitter. I see it on Facebook. Loved it. Great. Wonderful. Greatest thing I've ever seen. This is the best wrestling ever. I swear to God I saw that. And I'm not trying to lament on, you know, I don't want to be my dad and go, well, when I was a kid. But man, it just, there are things that go on in this business that don't go on in this business anymore. And there are things that go on now that never would have gone on 10 years ago, 15, forget 20 and 30 and 40 years ago. There's just a logic behind wrestling. And it's dying in many ways. And it saddens me to say that, you know, and that's what it's really gotten hard for me to get up and do, you know, Rocky Mountain Pro every single you know, show that we do at Rocky Mountain Pro. I've had, you know, doing this myself, the issues of getting up for it, but it's fine, you know. It's a new batch of fans, a new, you know, that's what happens. But you know, I couldn't do the podcast like we used to do back in the day, you and I, because it's just, I don't want to bash. But I think I would find myself bashing all the time, just because I'm not feeling it. And so it's better for me to not watch and move on than to watch and go, that sucks. Maybe I've outgrown it. It's outgrown me. We've gone our different ways. It's a relationship that has ended.
Very good point. Very good point. Speaking of NRW, did you want to get into that a little bit now, or you want to hold off till later?
Yeah, no, you know, I listen. Let's get that going. You know, Rocky Mountain Pro has just finished its second season on Fight TV. Finished off with Milestone 7, which is the biggest milestone that we had ever put together. So excited about the partnership with the people over at Fight TV. They're just really good people over there, and we've been really successful at Rocky Mountain Pro. And in their own internal numbers, I was We did Milestone 7 at the end of August. It was the show. Near 350, 400 people who were in attendance in the quarry. It played on Fight TV end of last month, and was doing promos, podcasts promoting the show. We're leading up to the live event, and one of the things that Fight TV had released, and they're pretty quiet about their numbers and their proprietary stuff, but they did release some numbers about what shows are popular. And of course, Ring of Honor is the most watched show on Fight TV, by all means. I mean, Ring of Honor is in the third. Gosh, I'm going to say it. That's the second most popular program in the country. I think TNA, Impact, Global Force, whatever it is now, it's just sort of fallen aside. So Ring of Honor is the most watched program. But you know what the number 2 one is? It's Rocky Mountain Pro. And that's not me. That's Fight TV saying that.
Okay.
So that's awesome to go, that we've got a national audience watching this program. Really awesome for these guys who bust their ass in the ring. We've got a lot of young talent hitting the Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy every single week. A new student is signing up, doing great stuff. We just had Brutal Bob Evans out to the school doing some stuff with training talent. But Milestone was an amazing show, and we had just an amazing main event with a steel cage, with the owner, Mercury Matt Yaden, and Hoodlum, a member of the 4-Part Cartel, the guys that I manage, and had the stipulations were all there, and the main stipulations were that I get control of Rocky Mountain Pro, or if Mercury Yaden won, I would be fired. And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched, but Mercury Yaden wins the match, and I get fired from Rocky Mountain Pro after 3 years with the company. But there's a reason behind that. And for the first time I'm saying this publicly, and I wanted to say it here with you, is that I'm retiring from professional wrestling. I'm calling it a career and moving on. And some of it is because of what we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Some of it is being able to give a spot to somebody else, and the younger. I'm 44 years old. My time is. I'm never going to be in WWE. Thank God. I'm not going anywhere with this. So some of it to give my spot up to the guy behind me, give someone else a chance to who could do something with it. But I didn't want to get to the point where you were saying, phoning it in. I didn't want to phone in. The fans of Rocky Mountain Pro deserve so much more than that. There's some very, very loyal fans of that programming. And I felt it was best for the company, though I was fought on that to not retire. I thought it was fair to the fans, the ownership, to the talent, that they got the very best Titus Machiavelli they could get, and I just didn't feel like I could do that. Going into now, they're filming season 3 now. It's going to be coming out on Fight TV here pretty soon. I haven't seen a date yet, but it's coming soon. I didn't feel like I could give them the very best of who I am, and thought it was the right time to pick that moment to go the way I wanted to go. And so there's the official announcement that I have retired from pro wrestling.
Now, if it's okay for me to say this, I know off and on, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably about maybe the past 3 years that we've talked that this is something you were kind of going back and forth with, but like something kind of made you come back
two-part question. What made you keep coming back? And then part two, when did you know without a shadow of doubt, if there was a moment, when did that moment come for you where you were like, okay, you know what? After so many years going back and forth, I know this is it.
Well, I really felt about a year ago it was time. I felt that it was really the time to go. I was actually in my very first ever match at Milestone 6 with former OVW WWE star Nikita LaFleur. We had a wrestling match. I was able to fulfill that dream, and I thought logically it made sense that in losing that match that I should be, lose my job then and retire then. I was still booking for Rocky Mountain Pro. That Milestone 6 was actually the last show that I booked, and Vince Russo, has taken over the book from that point on. Vince did a lot of booking for that show as well. I don't want to take that away from Vince. But we had the potential. We thought we had a national television deal coming up on another channel that went under.
I remember. Yeah. Recap the folks on that.
We got approached by and I'm not going to give them any credit at all because they're a bunch of
unprofessionals.
Unprofessionals. Thank you for using good words for me, because I almost went there. There were some unprofessional people there, and they're not even in business anymore. But they came to us, signed us a national television deal that would have been in 40 million homes, and it was a big deal. And the day that the show was to debut, it was pulled, and that really hurt. So I decided to stay because they needed me to be there. Mm-hmm. I was asked to stay. We need your character. We need you to be part of this. And I felt, boy, what a horrible time to stick it to the company when they're getting a national TV deal and leave them hanging there. And, let's be honest, who doesn't want to have a chance to be on TV? I thought it might be a good chance to, showcase who I am a little bit, and then, ride out into the sunset someplace into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that was about a year ago. I thought it was time to go, a little over a year ago. And because of that, that's why I stayed. Vince Russo personally said, I like you. I like your character. I want to do things with you. And when you get Vince Russo, and regardless of, the I hate Russo versus I love Russo crowd, because they're about 50-50, to have a guy who's made a living developing characters and writing professional wrestling for a living at the biggest levels that they are, for him to say, I like you, I like your character, that makes you go, okay, well, maybe I'm doing something right. So, Vince and Matt asked me to stay, and I did. TV deal fell through, yet we fought through and kept going, and found the Fight TV app, and we're able to put season 1 on there, and did season 2. But that was still in the background. Like I said, I haven't watched WWE in 6 months. I'm not feeling the business very much either. So from a standpoint of watching it and being in it, it's just it was just like I said, I didn't feel like I was going to be able to give the folks the performance that they deserved, the company the performance they deserved, and I did not want to. I told Matt Yaden, the owner of Rocky Mountain Pro, I don't want to hate this, and I don't hate it at all. I love the company. I have no desires to go anywhere else. If in this business, you definitely you know the words "never say never." I know that this business is that way. That the right lightning in a bottle could bring somebody back out of retirement. I have no desires to do anything with anybody else other than Rocky Mountain Pro. Matt Yaden is one of my best friends in the whole world. I love working with him, and if I were ever to do wrestling again, it would be back at Rocky Mountain Pro. But I just felt it was just time to get away from wrestling altogether. I have a new journey in my real life. I started my own business, and anybody who's a independent business owner knows that that's work and takes 100% of your time, energy. So I felt it was the right time, and that's what brought it on. Is I guess the second part of the question. I knew it was just time with my business, my personal life, and wrestling. You only can juggle so many things, and with this build up in the storyline, it made sense. And that's the thing about wrestling that bugs me sometimes, is that storylines have to make sense from a realistic point of view. And it would make sense that at this moment, that the biggest event ever for the company, where everything else was on the line, why not have me be on the line as well? It just added to the whole storyline. So that probably is what made it happen now, was that it made sense to do it. It was, the timing was right. Let's go with it. So that was the trigger of why now. It just made sense.
Okay. So no reservations, no looking back, going, damn, you are content as it stands right now.
I am content as it stands right now. I'm still tied into the company in what's going on behind the scenes. They just last weekend ran 3 shows in a day and a half in 3 different locations, and I'm like, woo! I didn't have to do that. There's something to be said going, man, I don't have to worry about setup, breakdown. I don't have to worry about the stress of getting the show together. I don't have to, there's always a stress about putting together a show. Even the most organized shows, whether it be travel issues, whether it be, whatever it may be, there's always stresses that are going on there. And even though I haven't had the book in a year and a half, I'm still, dialed in that way. So, yeah, no reservations. Kind of weird that they're filming season 3, and it's, we've been doing, Charge for many years. It was originally our show on YouTube. So we've got, close to 200 episodes in total, but 3 episodes of the new Charged on Fight TV. And it's the first Charged they're filming in 3 years that doesn't have me on the show. So that's a little weird for me. But the thing about wrestling is that you're just one spoke of the overall wheel. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. The show has to go on without you. I felt that Titus, the bad guy, head of the company, had been sort of played. I think we've taken the character as far as I think possible at this point, and I just didn't feel like it could grow anymore, and I just didn't want it to be. I felt it was getting stale. I felt it was getting old, and there was no place to take it. So it was a good thing. It's a good thing for the company. It's a good thing for the next guy up, whoever that is deemed to be, to kind of take that role or whatever it may be. But no reservations at all.
Good. That's what I like to hear. No reservations. And how can people check out your last appearance for NRW?
It's Fight TV. The Fight app. Just download Fight TV. It's out there. It's totally free for your viewage. Milestone 7. It's Rocky Mountain Pro. Definitely check it out. It's a phenomenal card, top to bottom. I'm very proud of that card. I'm real proud of the 3 years that I've spent at Rocky Mountain Pro. I'm proud of the career that I've put together, the years that I had in California. Vendetta Pro Wrestling has some great stuff over there with Billy Blade out there in Southern California. Still get to see a lot of those guys doing things guys that I first started managing when they were first starting their career. Some of these guys have got some really good careers going on. One has his own promotion that's really thriving, SenCal Pro Wrestling. So it's just, I'm really proud of the body of work I put in. I'm proud of the time I spent in podcasting. I did podcasting before Stone Cold and Chris Jericho was doing podcasting. I was doing a podcast. And that's how you and I got hooked up. When I was doing my little bitty crappy podcast, getting ready to do TNA Gut Check.
Yep.
You reached out to me and said, hey, I was the only manager, in the Gut Check Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you and I got hooked up all those years ago. And that's funny. That's how I got hooked up with Matt Yaden from Rocky Mountain Pro as well, is that he and I both had our gut check at the same time. I was in Cali. I did mine in Bakersfield. He's a Colorado guy. He went to Bakersfield to do it as well. And that's where we got hooked up there through a mutual friend. And that's what created the opportunity for me to be at Rocky Mountain Pro now, or was at Rocky Mountain Pro. So I'm real proud of it all, and ready to, find some next venture in my life, whatever that might be.
Well, you know what? Just to hear that you're in a position now where, you thought about this, you're content, you like where you are, where you're with your life right now, and above all else, you're happy. I mean, shit, it don't get any better than that.
Yeah, and I went out the way I wanted to go out.
Exactly.
I wasn't kicked out. I wasn't burnt out. And
you went out on your terms.
My terms, very much so. I went out. I was involved in took a phenomenal DDT from Matt Yaden in the center of a steel cage match. I'm very proud of how that match was laid out, the involvement that I had in it. It went out the way I would have wanted to go out.
Good.
Definitely happy with that. So, under other things, bigger, brighter things, whatever they may be.
Good. We got a little bit of breaking news, Titus. I don't know how much of this is a fact. I'm sure we'll probably be learning a little bit more information in the coming days as far as whether or not this is fact or fiction. But it is appearing as though Neville is done with the WWE. I'm actually trying to pull it up right now. Whoa. Hang on a second.
I saw that as I was dialing in. I read a quick little article on that.
Yeah, for those of you that are like, wait a minute, what, Lee? Apparently the news first broke out by Pro Wrestling Sheet. Apparently there's a rumor stating that Neville had requested his release from WWE last night. And last night would have been, Monday night. And while there hasn't been any confirmation yet, here's what Pro Wrestling Sheet is reporting that they've been able to find out from their respective sources. They're saying that Neville was initially scheduled to lose to Enzo Amore in the main event Lumberjack match on Raw. However, the plans had changed after the ex-Cruiserweight champion walked out before the show. So home in on that, they are saying that he apparently walked out before the show. And in case you missed it, Kalisto was given the spot instead, and he won the Cruiserweight title. And you have other sources that haven't been able to confirm the information officially. There is an account using the handle @WrestleVotes that tweeted earlier saying Neville quit, and most people that Pro Wrestling Sheet have spoken with say there does appear to be some truth in the claim. So, you and me been big fans of Neville for a couple of years now, and I gotta tell you, and I hate dealing with rumors, but I mean, if in fact, just hypothetically speaking, if this is in fact true, I'm gonna defer to you first. I mean, to say wow would be an understatement.
We know you mentioned big fans. You know, we did the when they were doing the very first draft of the new draft. You and I did our fantasy draft, and my wild card was not the Mickey Mouse flying happy-go-lucky Neville, but the NXT heel version is who I wanted, and that's who we ended up getting. I think he's as talented as can be. If the rumors are true, then it's unfortunate, and it says something about the culture at WWE. I think it says something about maybe the clickiness of things, and that's always my concern when you have a guy running the show, allegedly Triple H, who is one of the boys, and sometimes that becomes difficult to manage because you have relations with people and you get clicky, and maybe someone feels like he's on the outside looking in. I think it's bizarre that they say that he was scheduled to lose to Enzo, but then the replacement in Kalisto actually wins over Enzo. So that part is bizarre to me. Why would he quit if he was losing, but then they didn't have a replacement lose?
Right.
It's just odd. I guess we'll learn more in the days to come.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about a guy like Neville? I mean, a very long, decorated career. I mean, it goes as far back, really. You go to the European promotions that he did back in the early 2000s. I know he did work for Joey Ryan's promotion up at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Made a quick pit stop over at TNA, Ring of Honor, Shakira, Dragon Gate, New Japan. A decorated wrestler. He's been all over the place. He is a journeyman, so to speak. And for him to finally come to the WWE, honestly, what I saw of him in NXT, I'm with you. When he had that heel run in NXT, I thought that was such a welcome breath of fresh air. It made me stop and say, okay, so not only is this guy talented in the ring, but he's got something as far as charisma goes. He's actually a believable heel. And it just seemed like WWE had did a 180 when they brought him on the Raw brand and they had him come out looking like freaking Mickey Mouse or whatever. Yeah. For me, Titus, this speaks large volumes from the standpoint also of, well, wait a minute, less than 3 months ago, you lost somebody else that was also a journeyman, so to speak. Someone came across the same territory as Neville did and won Austin Aries. So for me to hear that Neville is basically technically pulling an Austin Aries, yeah, I'm with you. It kind of makes me go, okay, what exactly is going on right now with the current climate in the WWE? Because to have two, in my honest opinion, 5-star talents like a Neville and an Austin Aries say, you know what, I'm done with the promotion. I just want out. That speaks volumes to me. It's like, okay, what is WWE doing wrong? And I'll tell you, folks, I'll tell you quite honestly, for me, Titus, once you slap a guy with 205 or the cruiserweight division, it's like, okay, so you've already put a tag on a guy. You're basically letting the audience know, like, this is as far as this guy is going to be able to go. We, being management in WWE, this is how we see this individual. So, for some people, look, I'm sure when they were initially pitched, Titus, hey, we need some help with this 205 promotion that we're trying to get started up. Just need you to lend us your skills, lend us your talent for the first couple of months, help us get this where it needs to go. And then, man, afterwards, after it's nice and popping, we got some bigger plans for you. Yeah, you're probably going to talk a good game because you're trying to get what you need at that point in time, right? But plans change, stuff happens. hey, for all we know, to certain management's credit, maybe there was always the intent to have guys like them move on to other things, but it could be a case where it did not come sooner enough. I tell you, if it's true, I would love to see me one of those RF video kayfabe commentary shoots.
If you talk to a lot of guys in the indie scene, the dialogue has changed. It used to be, man, I want to go to WWE. I want to go to WWE. That's making it. And it's not that anymore.
Nope.
You've got really talented guys who go, I don't have no interest. I know guys who've gone to Japan 2 and 3 times this year. Lee, that's making it.
Mm-hmm.
When New Japan or DDT or they say, hey, we're going to pay you to come out here and stay here for a month, that's making it, baby. You don't need WWE to make it anymore. And you got a lot of great talent going, I don't want to go to WWE. I'll turn down a contract. I don't want to go there. Because that's not the end-all, be-all anymore. You have so many things that you can do now to make yourself over and to make a living in this business. And if anybody's listening, I'm telling you, if you want to be a pro wrestler, you're thinking about how do I make it, you don't have to go to WWE. And this is an example of, you don't have to. What is Neville going to get on the indie scenes? He's going to get paid.
Hell yeah.
He can work his schedule. Cody Rhodes works his schedule, and he gets paid. So there's the thing that you don't have to. Does it help you to get some national exposure? Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many things that you can do to actually make it in this business. So many great promotions across the country that you can work in. From Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore to CZW to Rocky Mountain Pro to APW out in California. There's so many promotions across this country that you can do something and make a career. And if you can pay your bills, you're a professional wrestler. You've made it in this business. So WWE has got to realize that you can be cliquey and you can put people in a box and say, this is what you are.
Right.
But they're never going to grow doing that. And that was like, that was one of my concerns with Triple H taking over, is that Triple H is cliquey. Triple H, Paul does have a problem with smaller talent. That's well documented. And so did Vince. So a guy like Neville, Rey Mysterio got where Rey Mysterio did because of a lot of circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
Normally, Rey doesn't go anywhere in WWE. At the time, there was no cruiserweight. If I recall right, there wasn't a cruiserweight division. That's what Rey would have been. If Rey comes up now, he's in 205 Live.
That's true, and you are correct. There was no cruiserweight division when Rey Mysterio came into the WWE.
So it's unfortunate. Neville's a talent, and I think he's going to learn quite quickly that that grass is greener on the other side. Most definitely, he's gonna get a paycheck, and he's going to work his much lighter schedule than the WWE schedule is, and he's going to be a happy dude on the other side.
He's going to be okay when it's all said and done, if this is in fact true.
If this is true,
yeah.
And they give him his release. There's no, they don't have to give it to him. So that's the other side of that's the business side of this whole thing, is that just because you ask for your release doesn't mean they're going to give it to you.
That's true.
And depending on how long his contract is, these guys are, paid per performance. If he's not performing, he's not getting paid. They're going to pull his T-shirt. If he's not coming, they're going to pull T-shirts. They're going to not sell them, so he won't be getting royalty checks. And if he's under contract for a couple of years, then it's possible he could not make any money. So who knows, what could come out of it. I would believe WWE should just let him go. If you don't want to be here, then here's the door. Go. You got that you got a 3-month grace period where he's not going to be on TV. So let him go if he doesn't want to be there. But that's the other side of the coin they have to keep in mind is just because he asks for his release doesn't mean he's going to get it.
Exactly. Switching gears a little bit, I know you were telling me how much of a baseball fan you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how you been enjoying it so far?
I'm a Cub fan, baby. So I'm dealing with being I can say this for the first time in my life. I'm dealing with the world champions here, right? So I'm excited about the playoffs this year. I think we got some great baseball. Sadly, the Cubs and the Nationals were rained out today, so they'll play Game 4 tomorrow. I think you have some of the best. I've been watching baseball since 1983. It's the longest relationship I have ever had is professional baseball, and this is the best baseball that I have seen ever. You've got such great talent. You've got guys like Bryce Harper. You've got guys here in Denver, Nolan Arenado, who's an amazing talent. You've got Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo with the Cubs. You've got the guys over in Cleveland who are tremendous. There's some great baseball right now. If you've never been I don't know if I've watched baseball in a while, or I used to watch, baseball is good right now. If you look at some of the statistics too, I just saw this the other day. With all of the hoopla going on in the Big O NFL, baseball is now retaken what it used to be. It's the most liked sport right now. NBA a close second, and the NFL is it's swirling the bottom of the tank. And baseball is starting to see some rejuvenation. The World Series last year was just amazing. Yeah, my Cubs were in it, but the series itself was tremendous. So good stuff in baseball right now. Good stuff.
Speaking of football, let's address the elephant in the room. This whole damn thing with the protesting, man. You told me off air, you said you have a very unique perspective with regards to this that may offend people, but
I'm going to offend somebody.
Yeah,
that's been my. I've never held back.
What have you been making of this whole players kneeling and all that?
Look, here, first and foremost, let's remember that an NFL football player is an employee of a football team, just like you're an employee of your job, and and everybody has an employer.
Okay.
What would happen if you decided to take your own personal protest at your job? What would happen to you, Lee? Let's be honest. Let's put it on the table. You decide to take a stance, right or wrong. Even if you're the most right, oh my gosh, how can you argue with his point? He's right. You do it at your own job. What's going to happen to you with your job?
I'm going to get a write-up and or suspension. Or
possible
fired.
Termination, right.
Yeah.
So I understand, I understand that people have their own beliefs, and I'm a big believer in the First Amendment. I'm a capitalist, guys. I am very conservative. But however, your employer, you have to represent your employer. And the thing about taking the knee that really upsets me is so many people died for that flag and for that anthem. And this is my opinion, and if you have a different opinion, that's fine. You're able to have that opinion, and I get that they have the right to take a knee. I'm not arguing that point at all. They have the right to take a knee. The question is, should they actually do it? That's the difference. Just because you have the right to do something doesn't necessarily mean you should do something. There's other ways to protest, and to do so on your terms, not on your employer's term, not on the fans' terms. If you want to protest what you're thinking going on, call a press conference. Call a press conference for Monday morning The press is going to show up because you're Richard Sherman or you're Colin Kaepernick. The press is going to show up, and then you could just spew all of your beliefs. Football is a sport. It's a getaway. Baseball's a sport. Pro wrestling's a sport. It's a getaway. It's a time to get away from it. I don't want to think about what's going on in the world when I watch my favorite sport. That's my way of getting away. If I want to be hounded by the problems of the world, I'll turn on the news.
I hear you.
Entertainment, man. It's entertainment. And let's entertain. And let's have some fun. And if you want to protest, do it on your time, not mine. And I'm not watching the NFL, brother. I'm not watching it. I'm a casual football fan. Casual. I mean, I really am casual. But that just pissing me off. Because I'm not there for that. I'm there to watch somebody do something amazing and get paid really well at it. Really well, but really well. So I find these guys to be overindulgent, self-indulgent. It's pretty pathetic in my mind that you're taking my time, your time, making a big deal over it, when really some of their points aren't as valid as they want them to be.
No, and to your point, I had said it on the show a couple of weeks ago. I remember a time where, like, all these NFL players that are now taking knees and everything, like, wait a minute, you're contradicting yourself because, and I tell folks this all the time, because I have so many people, Titus, including my boss recently at my day job. She's like, hey, I don't understand. Why are these NFL players so mad? Like, what do they have against the flag? I don't understand. And I try to tell her, I say, it's not that they have an issue with the flag. They love America. They love our country. If they had a problem with our country and making all the millions of dollars that they're able to make in this country, they would definitely have, like, be gone. They would have gone elsewhere already. It's like, it's not an issue with the flag. They have issue currently with basically what they're being told they can and cannot do. And it doesn't help when you have a president, all the other things that's happening in this country, and he decides he wants to call the NFL players sons of bitches. I don't have a problem with the president. Freedom of speech, it's a beautiful thing. Hey, to your point, that's what a lot of people that went into the military and all that, that's pretty much what they died for, right? That's like when it's all said and done.
They come home with a flag wrapped around their coffin.
Right. So, I mean, these NFL players in no shape or form have they started taking a knee and protest to the American flag. They're now taking a knee because you got the president saying to them, oh, you all are sons of bitches. Here's the problem I have, though. You same NFL players that are taking a knee in response to President Trump, you said several weeks ago or last season when Colin Kaepernick took the knee, and understand Colin Kaepernick never was like, you know what, I don't like America, he took the knee. Why? He took, say what you will about Colin Kaepernick, but he took the knee because he did not like what he was seeing in this world with regards to how police were treating those that were minorities. That's when it's all said and done. That's why he took the knee. And when it spread it like wildfire and all the other players were asked, hey, are you going to follow in Colin Kaepernick's footsteps? What was it, Titus? Oh, no. I'm not. No, I'm not. There was a real silence. There was a real hush. All the players, all the other owners were staying away from it. And then once you saw Colin Kaepernick in a position where he was no longer with the San Francisco 49ers, no other teams were coming to knock on his door, bring him in for a tryout, all that good stuff. Here we are now. We're going into what? Week 6. And nobody. We've seen so many injuries come about left and right. Need a backup quarterback? Here you go. Here's a great elite list. Colin Kaepernick has not been given the opportunity. I'm not focusing on the opportunity. I'm focusing on ever since he took that knee, you see what the end result has been. And so many players, even the Ray Lewises, who I have a serious bone to pick with, because you got Ray Lewis saying, oh, no, what he did, no, there's better ways that he can go about this, blah, 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 blah. I would not have taken a knee. What do we see? What do we see a couple of weeks later? After President Trump says what he says, all of a sudden, we have NFL players, oh, now they're taking a knee. We got Ray Lewis. No, I'm not. Now Ray Lewis is taking a knee. And it's like, don't take a knee because, you see what I'm saying? The priorities are wrong. Don't take a knee because the president called you all sons of bitches. You all are grown-ass men that are being paid millions of dollars to go out there and play some really damn good physical football for 60 minutes. But real time, it's like 3 freaking hours. But it's really like 60. No, it's not even 60 minutes, is it? Let's see, 14.
it's a full 60-minute football game.
Yeah,
15-minute quarters.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it's like. It's like, okay, we are watching you. We are paying the season tickets. We're buying the NFL merchandise. We're doing all this. We want to see you guys play. We want to see it get nasty. We want to see it get gritty. This is supposed to be all about tough men going out there on the field. Hey, man, you call me a son of a bitch? I don't give a fuck. If I see your ass when I'm coming down that line and you got the ball, I'm going to just knock your goddamn head off your damn shoulders. So how about that? It's like, it's stupid. It's stupid.
And the problem is the hypocrisy of, and this is of both sides of politics. Liberals, conservatives, Republicans, it's hypocrisy. A good example is, candidate Trump said off on a hot mic about grabbing a PUSSY, right? And everyone went crazy about it. And everybody went off on it. And what he said was a pretty stupid thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been in a locker room. I've been in a locker room at pro wrestling. That's kind of talk that does happen amongst the boys. And that's what he was wrong for saying it, but he's right. It is locker room talk. And for someone to say, well, that's not locker room talk, that doesn't happen in a locker room.
Bullshit.
It happens all the time. But the hypocrisy comes in. Now you got Harvey Weinstein, who's actually not talking about grabbing, who's actually doing the grabbing, and no one's talking about it. Mm-hmm. No one's making a big deal about it. You got guys, you got Lauren Michaels, who hammers Trump Saturday Night Live after Saturday Night Live after Saturday Night Live.
I stopped watching it.
Who did not hammer Harvey Weinstein. Why? His words were, and I quote, "It's a New York thing." Well, excuse me, if this is a New York thing, where's President Trump from?
Right.
From. He's from New York. So it's not a New York thing. It's a politics thing. Mm-hmm. So, I'm a big fan of the TV show The West Wing. Great television show.
Oh, love that show.
Right? I just finished binging it, for like the 4th time, just like a couple of weeks ago. I just finished it. And there was an episode where the president's going to Hollywood and he's going to do a fundraiser with a gay producer, right? Mm. And then some Republican puts out a bill to ban gay marriage or something of that nature. And the producer's like, well, if the president won't come out against it publicly, I'm going to cancel this. And he's trying to strong arm. And the president says, look, I can't come out and do this because when the president says something from his pulpit, it's a giant megaphone and it brings it to light. So if I say something, this little pitty Annie bill, which is going to go nowhere, gets brought to the front and center because the president mentioned it. And it made me think about Trump. It's an issue that if he wouldn't have said anything, would be over with. It'd be over with. But because the power of the presidential pulpit, it brought it to the stratosphere because the president mentioned it. If you look in time, whenever a president says something, it gets magnified because the president said it. And I think one of the learning curves that Trump has not yet gotten, and I think it happens to a lot of new presidents, is the power of the presidency. That just because, I tweeted this as a candidate for president, now that I am the president, it has even a bigger thing. So if he wouldn't have said something, this whole thing would have been pretty much not a non-issue. There would still be the occasional, knees here and there because it happened last year when he wasn't a president.
That's
so
true.
It's not Trump. It's not Trump because it wasn't just Colin Kaepernick. There were still players. There's a player here in Denver who did it too. So it wasn't just Colin. But it was President Obama then, not President Trump. So it's not Trump's fault. He just magnified it by talking about it in the way that he did. And because of this political firestorm that we have, those that, everything has to be political. I can't go to the White House and just celebrate, my championship without, I can't do that because I don't. It's the White House. Can't you go to the White House? It's the White House. It's an honor. I've been to the White House, Lee. It is amazing. Can't you just say, look, it's not about politics today. I'm just going to go, me and my team, we're going to go to the White House. We're going to be honored by the President of the United States, and then tomorrow I'm going to vote against him. Why is it all got to be politics? It's always got to be politics about every last little thing. And that's what's going on with this thing is, I hate Trump, so I'm going to make it the most important issue of the day. I'm taking a knee.
Damn, Titus, you basically said, hey, honey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I would love to go home with you. Next day, that was some really good puss, I got to tell you. And then afterwards, yeah, I'm not calling her back. God damn.
It's just we gotta make it. And here's the thing that really pisses me off. Now, see, the NFL hasn't made a big deal about this, right? Jerry Jones, he took a knee. He took a knee. Yeah, I saw the picture.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Now the son of a bitch is going to bench people.
Yes.
Why?
Because
it's his paycheck, Lee.
Right. Let me get folks caught up to speed. Let me get folks caught up to speed on that one because that was like the newest development, right? So for those of you that missed that, right? So let's rewind it. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he made it clear in a recent statement, I want to say after they had lost to the Green Bay Packers the other day, not Monday, so what was that, Sunday, that he opposes national anthem protests. And he did an interview with Fox Business, and he said, I quote, I do not think the place to express yourself in society is as we recognize the American flag. So we're winding back 2 weeks ago. As Titus just said, the man was locking arms with his team as he took a knee before the national anthem.
At the 50-yard line!
At the 50-yard line. This was ahead of them taking on the Arizona Cardinals on a Monday night. And then afterwards, they stood up for the national anthem. Now, fast forward. After the Cowboys lost Sunday to the Green Bay Packers 35-31, which, by the way, I don't want to dive too much into football talk, but Titus, my God, if there was one game I enjoyed this season so far, it was Packers taking on the Cowboys. It felt like a playoff game. I'm hoping that maybe that's going to be a playoff preview, but I'm telling you, man, Dak Prescott, he's got nothing to be ashamed about. He put in a really good performance, but I'm telling you, you basically do 18 plays. No. Yeah, I said that right. You did 18 plays for a total of 72 yards to basically take it down the end zone with a minute 13 left in the fourth quarter, and you give Aaron Rodgers and the Packers one timeout, you give them a minute 13 and they still have one timeout, oh no, that's just that's an eternity for Aaron Rodgers. And you see the pan shot right after Dak Prescott makes the touchdown. They showed Jerry Jones in his little VIP box, and he just has this look on his face like, nah, man, we ain't got this. He's not even celebrating. Dak's celebrating, jumping all up and down. Jerry Jones like, nah, we ain't really got that. But anyway, so Jerry Jones, after the Cowboys lost to the Green Bay Packers, he made it clear that as far as players wanting to demonstrate, they will not play. He said, and I quote, if we are disrespecting the flag, then we won't play. This is what he had told the Dallas Morning News. We're going to respect the flag, and I'm going to create the perception for it. Now, bear in mind, Trump, good friends with Jerry Jones to the point. Jerry Jones, the St. Rams owner, and there was one more, I want to say maybe Bob Kraft of the Patriots, all contributed $1 million to Trump's campaign for the presidency.
Correct.
I tell you, if that ain't conflicted, that hypocrisy at its finest.
But, it's in his wallet now.
Yeah.
The NFL's kept it quiet. They haven't said anything. Now you got Goodell putting out a statement saying, and this is right from the statement, like many of our fans, we believe everyone should stand for the national anthem. Really? Because now your ratings are in the toilet. Mm-hmm. Now everyone should stand. Everyone didn't have to stand week 2, 3, 4, 5. No, now that you're at, there was a time, Lee, the thing about the NFL, nothing could touch the NFL. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing could touch it. It is by far the most popular brand on television. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to take it down but the NFL themselves.
Yeah.
The way it is. It goes back to the WWE. Ted Turner couldn't kill WWE. WWE might kill itself.
That's very true. That's very true.
So, now you've got baseball. You don't see that. There's no knee taken in baseball. It's becoming a very popular sport. Basketball. NASCAR has seen an increase in ratings. NFL is now in trouble. Because now this statement to me comes out as, we didn't want to say anything, but we're kind of forced to now. So this is what we believe now.
Right.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Jerry, I've got the picture of you right on the field with arm in arm. You're on a knee.
The look in his face, though, dude. The look on his face, it was like, I really don't want to be doing this shit.
And what's sad is that the Pittsburgh Steelers all stay in the locker room. One Steeler, a vet, a guy who served his country in Afghanistan, he stands out there, and his teammates in the city are all over. He's a vet. Yeah. This guy risked his life to defend freedom. Whether you agree with Afghanistan or don't, he risked his life for a shitty paycheck, by the way. Mm-hmm. And he decided, why is he getting blasted? Where he has to apologize to his teammates because he went out there? Good for him. His beliefs where he should stand. His teammates where they shouldn't stand. Fine. I'm not picking sides. If you want to take a knee, take a knee. Fine. But the guy who doesn't want to take a knee shouldn't feel like shit for not taking a knee.
I agree with you 100%. Military or not, if you decide you want to take a knee, you should not receive any type of. You already know the consequences of that. And if that's the risk that you're willing to take, then so be it. It is your right at the end of the day. But to kind of go back to the point that you made earlier, just make a mental note of where you're taking that knee. Because if you're doing that on the employer's time, right, then it's kind of like, okay, so just so you know where you're doing it now. Don't be like, like, honestly, who thought Adrian Peterson was going to last as long as he did with the New Orleans Saints? We knew a couple of weeks back, as soon as we saw that damn clip of him chomping at Coach Sean Payton, we knew his days were numbered. Sean Payton kind of looked at him like, okay, I got something for you. Where's his ass going to now? Where they sent him off to now? Arizona Cardinals. So the man went from Vikings to Saints to freaking Cardinals, all in the span of like weeks. That's just, we're still talking sports. Of course, the Players Union, they not feeling what Jerry Jones had recently said, so no shit, they're now trying to get involved in all this and talk to the commissioner. Let's talk Jemele Hill. This girl, very controversial. So for those of you that's kind of like, who? Jemele Hill is this ESPN host. She's been working with ESPN since like the mid-2000s. She recently had hooked up with co-host Michael Hill, and they have done like a new revamped version of Sports Center, I guess at 6 o'clock. I've only watched like little bits and pieces here and there, and it's kind of like, okay, all right, nice. So she's made headlines because she's taken shots at President Trump, and then most recently, and I applaud her, but again, it goes back to the point, hey, just know where you're making your stand. Like, you're doing it on company time now. Like, she made these comments with regards to Jerry Jones after hearing, Jerry Jones is now saying, you going to stand or you're going to not play? She basically said fans that were upset with Jerry Jones' threat to bench any player who does anything that is disrespectful to the flag. Hey, fans, you're upset by Jerry Jones operating like that? Boycott the Cowboys. You can hurt Jerry and his pockets by boycotting the advertisers. And she gave a list of Jerry Jones / Cowboys advertisers. One of them at the very top being Pepsi. And ESPN, they basically were like, okay, you know what? We got to draw the line because now you're in violation of our social media policy. You're suspended for 2 weeks. Now let's rewind it. Titus, I definitely want to get your thoughts, but let's really rewind it for folks, especially those of you that don't know anything about this young girl or anything. Rewind it back. During the 2008 NBA playoffs, she was suspended by ESPN for a post that she made referencing Adolf Hitler in an article about then NBA champion the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. And in this editorial, she described why she could never support the Boston Celtics, saying, and I quote, rooting for the Celtics is like saying Hitler was a victim. It's like hoping Gorbachev would get to the blinking red button before Reagan. Deserving or not, I still hate the Celtics. So those comments generated an overwhelming negative response, and that portion of the editorial was taken out shortly after the column was published. So she was suspended for 1 week after that. She issued an apology through ESPN, but the network had drew criticism for its treatment of Jemele Hill, as you had another employee under the ESPN payroll, one Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz, who made a similar Hitler reference in that same year, and he was not suspended. So take that for what it's worth. You can say, okay, that kind of comes off, but don't really focus too much on that. Just focus on, okay, this girl fucked up one time. Then you have the comments that she had made recently about President Trump going back in September, basically saying that he is a white supremacist. ESPN doing damage control once again, basically saying, hey, what she said, not a representation of ESPN. We've addressed this with her, told her it was inappropriate. Basically, they were like, hey, wham, spank on the wrist. Don't do that. And so now, technically, you have strike three. This is my thoughts in a nutshell. This young girl She is young. I think she's like 41 or whatever like that. So for me, that's young. So she needs to decide what the fuck she's gonna do. She needs to decide whether or not, because I looked up her bio. It reeks of sports. Like, since early on in college, like, all she's ever wanted to do was sports, cover it in some form of fashion. She needs to decide if she wants to stick to sports or if she wants to dive into the world of socialism and politics. If she wants to dive into socialism and politics, God bless her for doing that. But she's learning the hard way, just like many others. At the end of the day, when people like us come together and we're trying to watch sports, when you, the listeners, are doing what you do at the end of the week after a long, hard day, not really sure where your next paycheck is going to be coming from to pay the mortgage, car insurance, whatever, you want to forget about your problems. Sports is supposed to be your getaway. Ain't nobody trying to hear all this rhetoric. So if I were ESPN, Titus, I would give her a strong pep talk and be like, look, you know, you're very outspoken on a lot of issues, you know, and hey, look, we encourage that, but you know what? Maybe this isn't the medium for you any longer to be doing it. Because at the end of the day, who is ESPN's bitch? Well, actually, no, I said that wrong. ESPN is the bitch of whom? ESPN is the bitch of Disney. So anything they need to do to protect fucking Mickey Mouse, they're going to do it by any means necessary.
Well, that's a way of stealing my catchphrase there. Well, here's the thing. This is the problem that people have. I've worked for one of the, you know, in my personal life, and I'll keep the name of the company, but for a top 10 Fortune 500 company, a top 10 company. So when you're dealing with a company that is large, in this day and age, you're going to have a social media policy. But let's take it to the next level. She has a celebrity because of her position at ESPN. Just like if I worked for, you know, ABC, CBS, Viacom, whatever. If you have a celebrity, which she is, you're tied to that business. So you have the right, you know, I'm a First Amendment believer. She can call Donald Trump a white supremacist all day in the world if that's what she wants to do. The problem that you have to separate is you're no longer Joe Citizen. You cannot say, I'm a celebrity, I have 25,000 people following me. Mm-hmm. I say what I want to say. It's tied together. You're tied to your celebrity. Because this girl does not have however many followers on Twitter that she has if it isn't for her job at ESPN. Mm. She'd have 1,500 followers the same that I do. All right? So her celebrity has given her the position that she has. She's got a responsibility to the celebrity that's been given to her. Yes, you have the right to say what you want to say, but your position on Twitter is only that big because of your employer. You're a representative of said employer. Now, take that down to what I said before. I work for a top 10 Fortune 500 company. No celebrity whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But I damn well tell you that if my name is attached to a Twitter account, and on that name it says I'm employed by said company, and I say something that is inappropriate, I would have been fired.
Yeah.
End of story. Without question, you know, I'm fired. Fired.
Private account or not, you're fired, right?
Because my name is tied to my company's name. So the thought process, they're tied, you're representing. Look, in my real world, I work in the health insurance industry. I'm gonna go that far.
Okay.
And it's a lightning rod of conversation. And if you work for an insurance company and you say your opinion on something, well, right there it says that I'm an employee of this company. I'm speaking on behalf of the company. That's how the company looks at it. It's in your social media, policies. It says what you can and can't do. If she wants to spew that Donald Trump is a white supremacist, then she needs to have a private account that doesn't reflect her celebrity or the employer that she got that celebrity from. Then she's fine. It's at white supremacists, hate white supremacists, and it's just it's just her opinions. She's not going to have 1 million followers because nobody gets those. But then she can say all she wants to say is Joe Citizen. She's not Joe Citizen. She's a celebrity. And there is a difference there because the celebrity wasn't created by her. It was created by her employer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she wants to get into into politics. You're right, man. Apply for a job at CNN, at Fox News, at MSNBC. Change, and then you can. But still, she could be at the most liberal organization in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Spew the wrong thing on Twitter, and be fired. Like the moron at CBS who said that this horrible tragedy in Las Vegas wasn't that big a deal because they're probably Trump supporters.
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, you got to go back. So one of the news people, not a celebrity, but one of the news directors at CBS said it wasn't a great tragedy or something to that effect because they're country music fans. They're probably Trump supporters. She was fired the same day. Rightfully so. Because you're representing the company that you have on your social media account.
And she said this in open form social media.
Yeah.
It wasn't on a private account.
Twitter.
Not private?
No.
Oh. Why?
And she deserved to be fired. First off, the comment was ridiculous, moronic, and just beyond what I can't even possibly fathom how somebody can think that way. Look, I have my political beliefs. I am not a Jimmy Carter fan. I'm not a Jimmy Carter fan. Jimmy Carter was ill like a year and a half ago. On my own personal, non-Titus, I have a personal, Twitter for myself. Hey, I'm praying for Jimmy Carter's health. Because I don't want something horrible to happen to somebody. Politics is to say something as moronic as 59 people dying, probably Trump supporters, not that big a deal, you deserve to lose your entire world. There's a woman out in Boston area who is owns a food truck, a vegan food truck, and she made the comment on Facebook that a bunch of meat eaters, how many animals are going to survive because of this? Something of that nature. And you're like, oh my God, these are human beings that died, and you're trying to say, well, this will save animals' lives.
Mm-hmm.
What a moronic comment to make. So you gotta be, in this day and age, you have to make sure that you know what you're saying and what you're representing. If I'm working for you, if you employ me as an employee of Infinity Productions, and I'm out there and I'm saying something horrible, I'm representing you. And you have every right to say, dude, Titus, you better shut your mouth. This is the final time I'm going to warn you because you have, 25,000 followers because of your association with the company, and you're a representative of my company. I represent you as that employee. That's the thing you have to remember when you're representing yourself. If I'm just me and I work for you, but I don't put out that I work for you, and it's just me, that's different. You can't liberty and all the goodness of it, but not accept the responsibilities that come along with it.
Mm-hmm. Here.
All right, I'm off. That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. Boy, but I'll say this in closing. My message to celebrities, like, don't think, well, maybe, all right, I'll give some of you celebrities credit. Maybe you aren't really thinking about it, but you should after I say this. Always be mindful that even when you personally feel, hey, I'm not on the clock, I can say whatever I want to do, you are still tied to that celebrity status. So don't think for 1 second that you're bulletproof and can't nothing touch you. The guy that used to sing the "Are you ready for some football?" I mean, you see what happened with him when he was too outspoken. He lost a pretty damn good royalty check off calling the Monday Night Football, doing the theme song and all that.
Right.
I believe in the First Amendment right, no doubt about that.
And he's not a small celebrity. This is Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah, Hank Williams Jr.
We're talking about a massive celebrity.
A massive celebrity. My advice, if I could just offer one piece of advice, and I've been saying this for years, and Titus, you can back me up on this. My advice has always been, have your business account that's tied to your podcast, your celebrity status, whatever, and have a second account that only your intimate inner circle, that being your friends, family, that's it. And without a shadow of doubt, they aren't going to be like, oh, well, look what they had said today. You know that you can put it out there and you will be okay. But then even at that, go a step further. Put in your bio or whatever, these are just the personal opinions and thoughts of blah, blah, blah. Not a representation. Like, if everybody knows, hey, Titus, I can see Titus on ESPN Sports Center every single night at 6 p.m. Then you put in there, hey, blah, blah, blah. My thoughts and opinions are no way affiliated with blah, 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 nor is it a representation of blah, blah, blah. And then that's it. That's it. It's your own fucking private. I don't see what's so fucking hard with having 2 accounts.
I have 3 Twitters. I've got Titus, I've got my personal, and I have my business. And each of them has a different need. My business is all about what my business is.
Mm-hmm.
I do not talk, anything. I don't talk politics. I have my Titus, which is all about, it's always been about wrestling and entertainment and so forth. And then my personal, which is all about me and how I feel, and it's mine. And I have like 25 people who follow it. I don't care. It's my expression outward. And that's what, you manage yourself that way. For years, I've kept Titus as, a balance, because no matter which side you take, you're gonna piss off half the people. I could come out and say Donald Trump is the biggest moron on the planet. Half the people listening to this show right now have just turned me off. I could say Donald Trump is the best president we've ever had. Half the people are going to turn me off. So you have to remember that. Why would I want to turn off half the audience?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just don't take a political stand. Even when you're passionately about it,
mm-hmm.
you don't take a political stand, because all you're going to... Look, man, I have turned off celebrities who I don't agree with. I've turned off personalities I don't agree with, because of I don't need you in my face with your beliefs when your beliefs are so different than mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, you can find someone else. ESPN isn't the end of it all. There's FS1. There are plenty of apps. I could delete the ESPN app, which I have, and I found another app that's just as good.
Yeah.
So, you don't risk pissing off half the audience, because really, there are people. It is half. Half the people in this country voted for Trump. Half voted for Hillary. Half voted for Obama. Half voted for Romney. Half voted for. We're split. We are split down the middle, folks. So why take a stance to piss off half that audience unless you just don't give a crap?
That's a damn good point. I'm showing some love in the chat. I see Brendan said, with regards to Jemele Hill, she needs to be shown the door. Enough is enough. Sounds like she's showing disrespect. I see. Bear with me a second here.
Well, we don't know what the employer has said. They may have said, just a slap on the wrist. We don't know what happens behind the curtain sometimes.
Yeah.
But I have to imagine, as an employer, at this point, you're suspended. This is your last chance sort of position.
To Brendan's point, because Brendan's saying it sounds like insubordination. I think it's coming after this, Brendan. I think what they did to her this go round, this is it for her. I think if she gets into one more incident, like maybe
it's over.
Like in the next 18 months, I think she's done. Yeah, she's fucking done.
And it's public. It's very public, a suspension. So everyone knows about it. So yeah, it's got to be that line was drawn. We're not taking it anymore. Whether they agree with her or not isn't the issue. You have to be careful how you position yourself for the company itself. So they've put that line in the sand and said, you're suspended. And everyone knows it. And yeah, you're right. In the next 18, 24 months, if she says something that is controversial to even the nth degree, she's going to be looking for a job.
Oh yeah. Hey, let me ask you, were you an X-Files fan?
I wasn't.
You was not? Okay. Oh man, that sucks. Well, I'll blaze through this real quick then. I want to give you guys a heads up that our X-Files fans, apparently Gillian Anderson, she had appeared at the New York con event over the weekend, and she had made an announcement apparently that in preparation for the X-Files 11th season, that I don't know, I think they're filming right now, so maybe it's going to come back first quarter next year. She said, this is it. And she said, and I quote, I think this will be it for me. And when you dissect it a little bit more, it turns out some of the issues that she's been having this go round, coming back to the X-Files, Titus, is she doesn't like the fact that there is not a dominating presence, so to speak, of female writers, and that it's very machismo, it's just surrounded by men or whatever. And she took it a step further, basically saying the reason why she came back last season was because she felt as though she owed it to the fans, because the way the series ended, it ended on such a cliffhanger that there was no finality to it. And for her, it just seemed like, okay, yeah, it feels right to come back and do this. Let's really wrap it up properly. So she only wanted to do season 10, and she was kind of shocked herself to find out, damn, I said yes to coming back to season 11. So for some of you guys that are like, so what does the future hold? Honestly, I hope Chris Carter is smart and he ends it with Scully and Mulder, because I think we all can be in agreement. What was that, season 9? When David Duchovny wasn't on there and Gillian Anderson was holding down the fort, that season sucked. It sucked big time. So I just want to share that news with you guys real quick. Also, let's talk Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, man. I've been wanting to pick your brain on this one. So we got the nominations for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2018. And I got to tell you, I have a problem with this list significantly. So let's just run off the list, and you and me could just be like, yeah, no problem, or whatever. Radiohead.
I'd put him in.
Okay. I got no problem with Radiohead. Rage Against the Machine, I'm like, hell yeah.
Wasn't a fan, but they have a huge fan base. They've made a significant impact on music. So yeah. Yeah,
I mean, just the socialism, always getting involved in politics. Yeah. Bon Jovi, hell yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
That's a lock. That's got to be a lock. Depeche Mode, yes.
Yeah.
Judas Priest, like I thought they were already in. Give it to them already.
Agree. Okay.
Kate Bush.
I gotta tell you, man, I can't even name a song that Kate Bush ever put out. And let me preface my experience as I was a nightclub DJ for 10 years. So for a 10-year stretch, I played nightclubs weekend after weekend, weekday after weekday. I actually had a small mobile DJ business, so I know my music. I cannot name a song that Kate Bush played. I no idea.
Oh, her. Okay. Do you remember that song that came out back in the day, Don't Give Up? It was a slow, romantic duet with Peter Gabriel.
Nope.
Were you a big fan of Miami Vice?
No, I wasn't, actually.
I was about to say there was one episode, if I remember it right, one of the guys was like addicted to drugs or something like that, and they had that song playing. As soon as you look up the song on YouTube, just do Kate Bush, Peter Gabriel,
sure.
Don't Give Up. As soon as you hear like the first couple of verses, you're going to be like, son of a bitch, I remember that song. No, I don't think she should go in. Who's next? Eurythmics, hell yeah.
Duh.
The Cars, yeah.
Yeah.
Dire Straits, hell yeah.
Yeah.
J. Giles Band, I don't have a problem with them.
No problem with that.
LL Cool J, get the fuck out of here. We're talking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Matt, music and I think it's music in all, right? I mean, is there country stars there, or is it just rock? It's just rock.
I'm seeing nothing but rock and metal so far.
Yeah, we got Michael Jackson's in there, is he not?
Michael Jackson's in there, yeah. But
He's
I mean,
not rock.
He didn't really tease it, did he?
No.
Maybe
Madonna's
Maybe I just have a personal vendetta against LL Cool J. Maybe that's what's going on.
It's funny. It's funny. I was just talking to my kids the other day. Just talking. I love going on YouTube and seeing these top 10 lists from oh damn, what's the name of that channel?
Is it What Culture?
Is it what?
What Culture?
No, not What Culture. It's the other. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Damn.
So we were just doing saw one with lip sync battle.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 best lip sync battles, and then one of the top 3 or 4 was Queen Latifah doing Rock the Bells with LL, and I had to pause to explain to my kids, and I just said this like 3 days ago. There would not be rap today if it wasn't for LL Cool J. I believe LL is the end-all, be-all when it comes to rap, hip-hop music in the world today. For me, he's the best.
Say what? Over a Tribe Called Quest?
I'm just telling you me.
What?
I gotta tell you, LL's he's just the end-all, be-all.
What? Over Kumo D?
Rock the Bells. Over Kumo D. Yeah, over Kumo D.
Damn.
Absolutely. Mama said knock you out. I mean, oh my God. LL is the greatest of all time.
Over Flash and the Furious 5.
They're the godfathers. A lot of those guys from those late 70s opened the door, but LL took the ball and he ran it home.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I'm seeing you halfway. I'll give it to you.
So if rappers go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, LL's got to be in there. And how he's not is a surprise.
How about MC5?
I can't think of a song.
Let me kick out the jams.
Yeah, I guess. Again, it's so hard and subjective because, again, 25 million people bought the record and loved it and thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and 300 million didn't. So it's hard to judge a Hall of Fame like this because What is the criteria? In sports, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits, 300 wins as a pitcher. That puts you in the Hall of Fame. What is the criteria? Is there any criteria? I'm reading here that they have to be recording for 25 years. It's just hard to determine who goes in. You have to have how many gold records do you have? I mean, does it matter?
If you ask me personally, one of the things I look at when it comes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, first thing I look at is, okay, how long have they been a band? How long have they been making music together? How many albums have they put out? And don't get me wrong, folks. MC5, great band, especially if you're talking about that classic lineup, the classic lineup. But to their credit, they had only put out 3 albums, and it was in the late 60s going into the early 70s. That's it. You don't even have a new album of new material to show for it. Just 3 studio albums. They had some pretty memorable songs that, like, oh my god, when you hear that riff, kind of like, an Eddie Van Halen song when you hear it or whatever. But like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for me personally, no. And I know that's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but MC5, sorry, no. Rounding off the list, the Meters. Honestly, I don't know who they are.
You got Dr. John, Robert Palmer. They were together for like 10 years.
Okay. One of those super groups.
It's just a funk music sort of American funk band type of thing.
I gotta research that. That's gonna give me something to do as far as looking up some new music. How about Moody Blues?
That surprised me. They're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that did too. That surprised me too. Rufus featuring Shaka Khan. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because before Whitney Houston, before Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shaka Khan. Yeah. Nina Simone.
I can't even tell you who she is. I don't know.
Nina Simone.
I'm looking her up right now.
Okay.
Activist in the civil rights movement, gospel folk. Died of breast cancer.
I'm gonna say yes to Nina Simone. I'm gonna give her a yes.
Classical, jazz, blues, folk, R&B, gospel, and pop.
She was yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't argue.
Yeah, Sister Rosetta Tarp.
I haven't a clue.
Link Ray and the Zombies.
The Zombies were a big band in the 60s. Very big during the Vietnam era. If I'm thinking of the same band. Trying to think of what their songs were.
Surprisingly, I bring up this list for a very good reason. What was really kind of shocking to me the most when the nominees for the 2018 class was announced, it included 2 first-time nominee 90s bands that stood out the test of time. You can make that argument in Rage Against the Machine and Radiohead. But on the flip side to that, in the back of my mind, I'm also thinking about Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. You talk about a snub. To me, it really came off as a really big snub. The band Soundgarden, they've been eligible for a few years now, and they were the very first Seattle band to sign with a major label, and yet they haven't been nominated. You would think that with Chris Cornell's passing earlier this year, it just would have seemed right. I'm not saying, okay, let's just let them walk on in, but at least, especially since they've been up for nomination a couple of years now, that they would finally be put on the ticket. especially with Chris Cornell's work alone with the Rock Hall in the past. I mean, he has worked hand in hand with the guys, including inducting Hart and performing at the ceremony in 2013. Not to mention, here's a guy in Chris Cornell that was able to front 3 bands successfully. Take your pick: Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, Audio Slave. There hasn't been that many singers in the past, 30, 40 years that have had that type of success, and a great solo act as well. And the flip side to that, I'm also looking at my man Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots. Here's another guy. After Stone Temple Pilots, went on, did his thing with Velvet Revolver. Solo material, but in his own respective right, he made significant contributions to the music industry. And of course, I can't end this without talking about my man Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains have been eligible for a good amount of years now, and you have the biggest misconception of folks that feel that Nirvana were the first Seattle grunge band to have success on radio, MTV and all that. But I'm telling you, you ask anybody back in 1990 when it came to hard rock and metal, what were they pushing? One of the first albums they're going to tell you, I know I was pushing it back then, Alice in Chains debut album, Facelift, Man in the Box, Sea of Sorrow,
Rooster.
Rooster was Dirt. Rooster was the Dirt album, 1992. Facelift had Man in the Box, Sea of Sorrow, Love, Hate, Love, We Die Young. I mean, beginning to end, that album was just fucking awesome. For them to not even get a nod. You also got more snubs, just to, wrap it up. Jane's Addiction, 9 Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins. What's your take?
Smashing Pumpkins, and I'm looking up as you're. I'm googling. I love Google. Janet Jackson's been snubbed too.
Yeah. I mean, my God.
Yeah, it's. It goes back to we talked about in WWE clicks and that kind of stuff. You wonder what. You wonder what makes someone think that somebody. I mean, how do you snub Smashing Pumpkins?
Yeah,
I was not a big fan of. I mean, legit, and I would say this to Billy Corgan if I ever met him. I wasn't a big fan. It wasn't my style of music. I wasn't into grunge. I wasn't into Seattle music. I wasn't huge into Seattle music. I graduated high school in '91. I was a hair guy. I was a big Guns N' Roses fan. That style of music, Aerosmith. I love Jovi. I wasn't into the Seattle sounds. I did like some stuff. I liked early Pearl Jam. I love Temple of the Dog. I mean, Hunger Strike it had a big impact on my life when the first time I heard that song. It was just the right time of my life to hear that song. But there are songs that are just stand out. But just because I wasn't into something doesn't mean I don't understand the relevancy of that band. And Pumpkins, I mean, how do you keep them out of the Hall of Fame?
Right.
It does not make any sense. If you're a rock and roll Hall of Fame, the impact made by Smashing Pumpkins is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you can argue, you could debate 9 Inch Nails. You can debate it.
You can.
You'd be wrong potentially, but you could debate it.
Especially from the standpoint of just the lineup, because let's be honest, 9 Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. So, are you actually inducting Trent Reznor, or are you inducting the name 9 Inch Nails?
Right. But how do you not say the Smashing Pumpkins? You can't debate that. You can't debate Janet Jackson, for crying out loud. No. The number of top albums and singles that she's put out is. We're not talking LaToya here. We're talking Janet.
Mm-hmm. The good one.
Doesn't make any. The good one. Well, at least until Justin Timberlake got a hold of her. It's I had to throw that out.
Yeah, too.
It just doesn't make any sense how you let some of these people go by. You can debate, like I said, Nine Inch Nails. I don't think you can debate Soundgarden. Maybe you debate Soundgarden. Maybe you can. Maybe you can debate it, but you can't debate Chris Cornell. So how do you rectify that? Like you said, 3 bands that you can, it's subjective. That's the problem with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's subjective in the aspect of, the people who's voting for this, and what are their influences? What are their influences, or who's politicking them? Sports is a little bit easier to say who's in the Hall of Fame. It's like the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, really, what qualifies anybody to be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Vince likes you.
Vince likes you? Exactly. And that can change, especially if your name is Hulk Hogan. Vince doesn't like you anymore, and he's taking you out of the Hall of Fame. If you go look, he's not, prominent. But in sports, it's much different. This guy ran for 35,000 yards. This guy passed for 25,000 yards. Those are much more viable, more solidifying on what you've done for a career. So that's an easier way to there's still debates. Well, he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. He only had 497. Dale Murphy is not in the Hall of Fame. I think he had 490 home runs. When 500 is pretty much 500. Dale Murphy, not in the Hall of Fame. Should be in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have 500 home runs. He missed it by a season, maybe. You still have debates, even when you have hard facts. This is subjective.
Yeah.
I didn't like them. They don't belong in the Hall of Fame. Well, who gives a shit whether you like them or not? What was the impact on the music? Again, I'm the first to say, right now, if you told me that you give me $100 to name a Smashing Pumpkin song, I couldn't get the $100. I can't name a song, but it doesn't change the fact that I know the impact that they've made in the music genre, and that their impact was enormous, and they belong in the Hall of Fame. Even though they weren't my cup of tea, that doesn't mean anything. My cup of tea isn't what we're voting on.
Right. Do what's right, goddammit. They never will. They never will. No. I gotta pick your brain on this, because apparently this is like, woo, Santino Marella, Jim Cornette. So apparently at a New York event, you had Jim Cornette and Santino, who were both guests at the XICW Cobo Legends convention. Looks like it was in Detroit, Michigan. Apparently at the convention, Cornette and Marella, they went into the corner of the Cabo Center, and they were like by themselves. They were like out in the open. You all know how it is if you've been to some type of an event at a convention and you got like these like big spaces of hallways and all that. They're in a spot by themselves going at it, and you can't really hear what Santino is saying to Cornette, but you see Cornette is like getting really fucking pissed off, and he's just yelling all types of explicit stuff at Santino. From the body language of Santino, Titus, I don't know if you had opportunities to check out the video footage from several angles, but like I'm usually a good character of reading body languages and all that. Is definitely part of what I have to do. I've been doing it off and on for many years with my second job in security, and like Santino just really kind of came off like, hey, I'm trying to make peace, I'm trying to do right by you, but like Jim Cornette is just, and I don't know if he was causing up a ruckus because he knew he was being recorded. And look, I will admit, if you get me around my friends, drinking or not, I'm gonna be rowdy, I'm gonna act. We all do that, we all kind of act like, because we just have that swagger when we're with our friends. And Bruce Pritchard was hosting a event where Jim Cornette was talking. I guess it was an evening with Jim Cornette, and Bruce Pritchard was basically the MC, if you will. And long story short, Santino and Jim Cornette, they actually got kicked out of the convention. And then I guess later on, Jim Cornette was able to talk candidly at an evening with Jim Cornette event about what all had came about. And the history in a nutshell, it all goes back to the mid-2000s when Cornette was the head booker for OVW, which at that point in time was operated by the WWE. Santino was a wrestler, and at an OVW show, Morella had did this angle with the Boogeyman, and instead of acting scared, he laughed his ass off instead, and this just pissed the living hell out of Cornette, and he just went off on Santino backstage, cold slapped the shit out of him, and that is ultimately what led to Cornette being fired as the OVW booker by the WWE. It was because of like that incident alone. Let's just focus on that part, because Jim Cornette's, it actually gets disturbing, this story, sadly. But Titus, I'm sure you heard about it. Did you check out footage? What did you make of this bullshit?
I'm trying. I didn't hear about it, and when you had mentioned it, before we came on, I wanted to check it out, and I'm just hopping on YouTube as you were talking, and trying to get something to look at.
Here, I got a link for you right now.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is Cornette definitely looks to be the aggressor in this conversation. He's you're talking about body language. Working in nightclubs for years as a DJ, also as a bouncer. You see,
he's the aggressor.
He is the aggressor. He's almost putting his finger in his chest. Santino at one point, it looks like, is drinking his coffee. God, I mean, if I say something one way, somebody who will tell Cornette will hear it, and Cornette will lambaste me on his show. Some fat manager named Titus Machiavelli, what a dumb fucking name that is. His fat ass was talking shit about me, and there's no shit about... I don't know Jim Cornette. Yeah. I know people who do know Jim Cornette. I have an acquaintance who is as a Jim Cornette person as they could possibly be. I've got another who despises Jim Cornette. So I don't know Jim Cornette. I don't know Santino Marella. I've never worked with either of them. Looking at the video, it looks like Jim's pissed off about something, and he's an aggressor in this whole thing. It really looks what you see, but it's what you see. That's the thing that we don't know what happened before the video was shot.
Right. Right.
We don't know if Santino was saying shit from across the room, or if somebody, let's be honest, man, there are people who love to poke the bear. Hey, Jim, I heard Santino say that you're a fat bastard. Oh, fuck him. And then there you go. I mean, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
It looks, sadly, like it looks like there's an old rivalry that just won't go away. And, at some point, you got to put the shit away.
Yeah.
And what I see of Jim Cornette is he just doesn't ever give up on hating somebody. He hates Vince. He hates Vince Russo. He hates, and that's kind of sad. And I know I have my people that in my life I go, I can't stand that guy, and I've cut people out of my life. And years go by, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I don't want to be friends with them because of X, Y, and Z, but I don't want to have hate in my heart anymore. And I think that Jim doesn't seem to let go of anything. And that's what it looked like in the video, is that he wasn't letting go. Can it go back to that time at FCW? I mean, can it go that far back? That's been decades, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I worked with Marty, Boogeyman. I worked a show with him. Got to know him a little bit, and that came up that conversation. And I don't recall him being upset about it. Cornette was livid, and he had said that. Cornette was livid about it. I don't remember in our conversation about that Marty was upset about it. I don't think I recall that. I don't know. But is that what Jim's still pissed off about?
Apparently,
that happened 20 years ago?
Yes, apparently, because I was curious, and Santino had put out a statement, and I got to tell you guys straight up, it is a very long statement. I just sent Titus the link, and this link is a cup of coffee, let me tell you. I can't even read this on air to you guys, because Titus will tell you, this looks like it would take 20 minutes just to read. I'm skimming it so far, and pretty much Santino is basically saying in a nutshell, it's like tripping him out that Jim is like still tripping over this incident that had occurred, and he apologizes to the fans that had came out to the convention. He said that he.
Oh, I'm not reading this.
Yeah,
Good God
I told you. That's like 20 minutes.
I got a life.
Right. You know, it's like, hey, if you're if you have a case where you ate a really bad burrito and you know you're going to be hitting the toilet a couple of times, this is great reading material. Let me tell you.
Jesus.
Yeah. But in a nutshell, he basically had said he tried to apologize to Cornette for what happened in the past and put it all behind them. But as far as he's concerned, Cornette had other plans. And he just hoped that everybody had a blast that were able to come out that night. And as far as he's concerned, he gets to return to his wonderful Canadian life, to his home, to his fitness model wife. Enjoy kayaking, hiking, fishing, and yeah, okay, great.
So
but, yeah,
let's put a nutshell in this. The story is Santino was laughing instead of being scared at the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
Cornette booking, pissed that he was laughing, berates him and hits him, right?
Right.
And he's fired, and he holds it, and he blames Santino Marella for it. In a nutshell, that's the story.
Yeah, for that and no selling.
Okay. The key to this, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble. The key is he slapped him. You're fired. You hit him, you're fired. End of story. Done. You yelled at him, we can talk about, hey, you know what, maybe you're a little too harsh. Hey, you're dead on, whatever it may be. You hit an employee, you're fired. It's not Santino's fault. He didn't run into your hand. You hit him.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the story in a nutshell, and that's what he's still holding on to all the years later, that Santino got him fired, he hit Santino, it's Jim's fault. That's just I don't see another way around it. You can't blame somebody for getting you fired if you hit them.
Right.
I don't care what, maybe if he insulted your mama and you got so mad that, he called your mama a whore, that might have changed the conversation. Hey, look, I hit him. I did. But he called my mama a whore. Okay, then maybe we need to work something else out. But that's not out there. So I don't know. It's sad to see something 20 years later still causing people pain. Doesn't seem that Santino's lost a night's sleep over it. I like the supermodel wife or fitness model wife. That's awesome. So I guess that's unfortunate. I feel bad that's some people are still living on what happened to them 20 years ago or 12 years ago or however long it was.
Well, Titus, it gets worse, my friend, because on top of Jim Cornette doing that, apparently he whipped his dick out at a Detroit show over the weekend. As Cornette did apparently at one of Bruce Pritchard's live shows. It had included Jim Cornette flashing his penis at the crowd in Detroit. Looks like it went down at the St. Andrews Hall, And when Cornette had saw a cardboard of Vince Russo's head, which normally would be used for impressions, it was thrown into the ground, and he mimicked urinating on the cutout. Jim then pulled his track pants down, flashed his member, and yeah. This was confirmed by multiple people that were at the event. They immediately went on Twitter, and one of them had said, could have done without seeing Corny's penis, but other than that, great show. Can I just be honest?
Wow, yeah.
Let me be honest. I've been a fan of Jim Cornette for many, many years. One of the things I've always appreciated about Jim Cornette, love him, hate him, he is one of those guys. He will just give it to you right down the middle every time. He'll give it to you raw. He's always straight up. I love that. And I love that he has not tried to cater to anybody. He hasn't tried to cave, like, no, thank you, fuck you, bye. You know, he's what you see is what you get. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
So I love that about him. But when I hear stuff like this, it just kind of makes me go, damn. And this isn't the whole, oh, Lee, you're being oversensitive, or no, it's not. It's like, look, if I'm paying, even if it's $10, you get the point that I'm making. If I'm paying $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $150 to see Jim Ross or Mick Foley, and they talk about one point in their careers where somebody just really rubbed them the wrong way, I am not expecting to see Mick Foley or Jim Ross pull out their dick. You know why? You know why? Because they have already built a reputation for not operating in that fashion. So guess what? I could, to a degree, maybe take my kids. That is, if they're like 12 and up, I could take my kids to go see a Jim Ross or a Mick Foley, because I know I'll be comfortable. My kids will be comfortable, right? Now, if it was a case where, hey, anything can happen at a Jim Cornette show because it's really uncensored, because he'll show you his ass, he'll whip out his, it's like, but
it definitely depends on the promotion. I mean, my kids are 13 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter started going to see me in shows when she was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I only have worked shows in which my 5-year-old daughter can come see me perform. Now there are shows that are more adult themed, and I have done those kind of shows in the past, and I quit doing those because I was trying to go. I wanted to work where my kids could see me.
Mm-hmm.
Not blasting the promotion, not at all. There are attitude era type of stuff that goes on that, and they're advertised that way. What bothers me about what you're just saying about what happened with Cornette is, what was this show packaged as? Because I know that for the last 3 years, Rocky Mountain Pro, before that NRW, has been, quote, a family-friendly event.
Mm-hmm.
And if my family-friendly event that I have packaged for years is then now disgraced by having Jim Cornette's dick hanging out, and a 5-year-old child was exposed to that, Jim Cornette could be in trouble for a lot more than just being an ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's like pedophile charges if he's exposed himself to children.
Right.
Now, I don't know what this show was. This could be an adult-only show. That's possible. Don't know. But damn, man. That's just... It's unexcusable. And if I were booking, I would never book Jim Cornette on my show because I can't run the risk that he's going to get sauced up and pull his dick out.
I know, right? I mean, you hear something like that and you're going, whoa, wow. What the hell? Like, what the fuck? This actually happened where? And you're like, whose name is attached? Yeah.
I hope it's wrong. I hope it's just...
Well, you got multiple people saying they actually saw it. And, I mean, it's one thing if one person says it, but to have multiple people say, no, we actually saw him whip it out. And I'm actually on Bruce Pritchard's timeline right now to see if by chance he issued any type of a apology over what had happened. And I don't see anything yet. And I'm already on October 8th. And yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Yeah. No apology yet. I'm already on the 7th, Titus. So, I kind of question whether or not this actually did go down. But I mean, you got multiple people saying they actually saw it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm looking as we're talking, and people say, nope, it didn't happen. Those that... Wait a minute. Look at the video.
If Bruce didn't address it on his own social media account, I don't see how.
Oh, God.
Is it legit?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
It's on the Sun.
Let me see a link.
Yeah, give me a minute. I was looking at my iPad. Let me find it on my phone for you.
Oh, man.
That's
man.
In front of Pritchard, too.
You can actually see the member.
Well, they block it with the word censored, but he pulls his pants down. The Vince picture pulls it. Yeah.
Damn. Now, is this on whose video is this?
This is off of the newspaper The Sun out of the UK.
Okay. Well, if it's legit, then that sounds very disturbing. I mean, if you're a booker, I would imagine you're going, okay, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Cornette, I'd like to do business with you, but we need to draw up some paperwork. We need reassurance that you're not going to do this, and if you are, then you basically forfeit your purse.
I linked you, brother.
Okay.
That's unfortunate. That's, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I mean, I can't. Yeah. I mean, but I'm not going to do it just because I don't want to risk it. He might, it just. I get that he despises Vince Russo. I get it. We've worked side by side with Vince Russo. And there is a side of Russo, for bad, that people talk about that I can get. Okay, I get it, But there's a side of Russo that I see when I've worked with him. He's one of the nicest, sweetest, lovingest people in this world. He truly, truly is. And to have such hatred that you would expose your 56-year-old penis at a wrestling show, that's... I don't know. You see the video?
Yeah, I mean that big block thing is like it's kind of hard to say. I said kind of hard when like penis being whipped out and then kind of hard.
Hard, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give him the benefit of doubt. Maybe he didn't exactly.
It's hard, brother.
maybe it was just a case where it's the belly and then it's the little bit of flap under there before you get to the dick. So maybe it was one of those type of deals. I'll give him the benefit of doubt.
Then why would the sun block that? The sun is a very... I mean, you'll find the...
Was the sun actually there, though? I
don't know.
Bring me a person that was actually there and has nothing to gain from being interviewed or whatever like that, not getting any money whatsoever, not getting a @Twitter mention, Facebook mention, no social media plug-in, that will say, yes, Lee, Titus, Jim Cornette did show his dick. I saw it. The motherfucker is uncut. And I'll go from there. But just to display the act alone, I think it's kind of like, it's a bit too... But you know what? It might be extreme, but at the same time, it's what you would expect from Jim Cornette. That is, of course, he didn't actually whip out the dick.
Yeah.
we got to end this on a higher note, because poor Titus.
Yeah. Did you see the Star Wars trailer released yesterday? That's a high note.
I have not seen it yet. Was it good?
Brother, you have to see it. It will leave the ending of the trailer, your jaw will hang about 3 inches down. Wow, what a trailer. It's got me really excited for it. I'm a Star Wars guy. I love Marvel movies. I'm a big Marvel movie fan. This trailer was very, very good. It's got me really excited for the next movie, The Last Jedi. It is very, very good. It's worth the 60 seconds that it takes to watch it.
And that's the last one with Carrie Fisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one. I'm like you, I'm a Marvel fan. I'm looking forward to Thor Ragnarok. Oh, my God. And then freaking Justice League. I finally saw the trailer for that. I'm like, the official trailer, like they just put on TV the other day. I'm like, this looks like it's going to be badass. But, they're going to be going head to head that month, because if I'm not mistaken, you got Thor Ragnarok November 3rd, and then you have Justice League on the 17th. So, I mean, my God. And it's coming in at a great time, too. Kids are either already going to be on Thanksgiving break, or they're, like, already doing it. So, 2 really good movies right there. I got to give a shout out to Blade Runner 2049. I know everybody's like, oh, it didn't really bring in that much. You know what? That was a success as far as I'm concerned. I know they're basically saying it was number 1 in the box office, but it just pulled in like 31 something million and change. And it mostly had attracted older guys. Well, what the hell do you expect? Like, who do you think was going to go see the sequel to the first Blade Runner, right? So, yeah, apparently it was dominated 71% males and older males than 25 years of age. That's up by like 86%. I can't comment until I actually see the movie, but like I would think that there was like maybe a hot female lead actress in there. I mean, if not, maybe when they get ready to do the next movie, that's something that they can kind of tweak a little bit. But I'm bringing up Blade Runner, Titus, for a reason. I was asking somebody that had saw the movie, because our boy Dave Bautista is in this. And yeah, he's actually in this. And I asked my friend, I said, okay, so you saw Blade Runner. How's Dave Bautista in this one? Does he have like a dominating role? Or and he goes, well, he plays a central part that helps get the story moving along, but he's not a lead guy. I'm like, so grand total, how many minutes would you say he takes up of screen time. And he was like, oh, total, I would say if you're lucky, about 15 minutes. I'm like, so nowhere near 30? He's like, no, nowhere near 30, but he plays a central part that gets the storyline moving along. I'm like, okay. But still, I mean, that's fantastic that he's able to put this on his resume. I mean, you got to give it up for Dave Bautista. I mean, here's a guy that was like, you know what? I want to go test out other avenues, and he left on a really good high note the first go round with his wrestling career, and he has just been hitting it hard. Really proud of that guy. He's really been doing big, man.
Yeah, Dave's he's transitioned really well to major motion pictures. He's phenomenal as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought he was tremendous in James Bond. Was it Skyfall he was in?
Skyfall, yep.
He was, and I wasn't a big Daniel Craig fan until recently, having gone back to watch. For Christmas last year, I buy all my movies. I'm an Apple guy, so I have all my movies through iTunes, and Apple ran a special on the complete James Bond collection. I don't know how many movies it was. Normally it's $150. It was for like $89. So I bought that for my wife for Christmas because my wife is a humongous James Bond fan. And I wasn't a big fan of Daniel Craig. Went back and watched the movies again and really had a different opinion of Daniel Craig this time around. And then watching Skyfall for the first time and seeing Batista, he was good. He was good in that. We'll never see him in WWE again. That's his. No need to go there or do anything stupid there ever again. He's got a great movie career going.
He does, and it looks as though John Cena is finally getting the ball rolling. I see the projects that he's taking his time and selecting. That's outside of the WWE realm. I think he's going to successfully follow in those same footsteps. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do. Going back to Dave Bautista one more time, I'm telling you, now that James Cameron has the Terminator franchise back, I'm just throwing it out there. Don't be too surprised if maybe James Cameron looks to Dave Bautista for his Terminator. That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting the bug out there. You heard it here first. You know.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, that would be a damn good pick. Anything else you want to get into before we wrap it up?
Good God, man! We talked politics. We talked about Jim Cornette's penis, which I wasn't on my agenda tonight.
I know, right?
Cornette's penis.
If it makes you feel better, by the way, Brendan is saying that there are reports that are saying that Jim Cornette apparently apologized. He didn't mean to actually whip it out, but that it accidentally popped out. Take that for what it's worth. We'll leave that as a cliffhanger.
Leave that at Well, we talked about, movies. I think we covered quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything we didn't, cover. Yeah.
I think we did fantastic. We covered it. Yeah, we covered it all.
And in typical Lee and Titus, we're going to do, 60, 90 minutes. We're at 2 hours and like 20 minutes.
I know, right?
And for those that have been a fan of the RCWR show for a long time, you knew that shit was going to happen. Because we ain't been talking for a while now, so we got a lot of shit to cover.
I know, right, man? We definitely got to do this more often, like not so much on air, but definitely off air.
Off air.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to work towards it. We'll make it happen. Talk some shit as your Cubs are losing.
No, brother. Nah, not happening. We're going to repeat. We got screwed tonight. We got screwed by the weather tonight, damn it. That really upset me. But they're going to put the Nats away tomorrow. The Nationals will be done. I got to tell you what. I don't want to like Bryce Harper. I don't want to. But damn, I like that guy. You know, he is a major talent. He's got a great attitude. He wants to have fun. He takes it very light. That's a hell of a guy that they have there in Washington with Bryce Harper. Really hard not to just root for him. What a special talent. I'm excited about baseball. I mean, every single city with a baseball team has got to have some level of excitement, even if your team was, you know, at the bottom of your division. Even though you're a San Diego Padre fan, there's some young talent in every single team to get you excited. It's a new revolution in baseball right now. It really, really is. Mm-hmm. And it's a horrible time for the NFL to be tripping over itself, because they're in trouble and baseball's just chugging along with great baseball, great playoffs going right now, great storylines of players. Football's in trouble, and they're gonna, all of a sudden just writing a press release saying we want everyone to stand. That's not going to fix it. There are some really, really, really pissed off people, and they're not going to just go back because, it's okay now? Okay, we can watch again. There are people who won't watch NFL ever again. I've talked with people. They're never going to watch NFL again.
I've talked with people as well. See, what this comes down to, thus the title of this episode, for those of you that's kind of like, wait a minute, self-accountability. That is what it all comes down to. And I want to leave you all with this, which is, we see everybody operating in this fashion over here to the left and then to the right, and then we got all this finger pointing that's going around. Oh, well, the NFL and just in general, right? I just want for motherfuckers, and not everybody is a motherfucker, all right? Don't get all PG on me now. Be like, oh, yeah, you hit me up just like Trump. Yeah, I'm not no motherfucker. I know SO. You get what I'm saying. The point is,
and if you're whining about that, you might be one.
Yeah, it's like, can we all be in agreement that now more than ever in this society as a whole, we need more self-accountability? You say to me, for a perfect example, Black Lives Matter. I say no. You say to me, Blue Lives Matter. I say no. You say to me, all lives matter. I say no. You say the Democrats, they're fucking lazy bums. I say maybe. You say the Republicans are evil. I say maybe. What I will tell you, though, is that self-accountability now more than ever. I just want to see people step up. Okay, this is what I represent. This is what I'm standing for. Here's the good. Here's the bad. I know the ramifications of this, but I am holding myself accountable. That is what really needs to be happening more and more and more. And Titus, until we get to that point where more people are willing to dig down deep within and take more self-accountability, we're never going to be able to move forward as a whole in the most simplistic things. To your point, baseball. That's what makes baseball, boxing, soccer, that's what's having all of them, giving them the one-up right now. It's like, oh, yeah, y'all got it bad with the NFL. You're just trying to turn on a game. And dude, I can't tell you, when I work overnights at the joint that I work, there's a bar that's part of my patrol that I have to check up on. And I'm telling you I hear the same time last year, packed on Monday nights, packed during Sunday nights. Now, because of all this shit that's going on, dude, you're lucky on a Monday night if you got 5 people that are watching the game. Sunday night, you're lucky if you got 5 people watching it.
And you know what the NFL needs to realize is it's not just their business that's being affected. They're multi-millionaire and billionaires. It's the guy who owns the Domino's down the road who isn't selling as many pizzas on a Monday night because no one less people are watching Monday Night Football. It's the bar that's just trying to keep himself above the water line because people aren't watching football on a Sunday afternoon as much. It affects so many people that the NFL has to realize it's not just them. They've created this ecosystem in which other businesses are. It's a symbiotic relationship. When you're up, we're up. When you're down, we're down. And if you die, we're going to be long gone because you're going to outlast the corner bar. The NFL is going to outlast the franchisee from Little Caesars Pizza. Mm-hmm. There's so many businesses that are hurting right now because of this, and it pisses me off that these guys are getting. You're a multimillionaire. You're getting your paycheck. You're hurting your own business, and it affects so many other people who don't make anywhere near what you make. Think about that. Think about the ramifications of what your decisions are. Because that's what really upsets me, is they still got their paycheck. The guy at the bar who owns that bar, how long can he last that out? He might not be able to.
Very good point. Very good point. Something to think about, people. I think on that note, that's a cliffhanger. We'll end it on that note. More self-accountability. Titus, plug yourself, man.
Man, I'm not the plug no more, brother.
You can still plug.
I'm gearing things down. I'm shutting down some websites. I'm just not going to have those anymore. I'm probably going to shut down a lot of my social media and just focus really on, I think, just Twitter. That's at Evil Genius Titus, as always. That's gearing it down. I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. I've had some people reach out about doing podcasts, reach out to me about any topic you want. I don't know. I know that I'm not going to do anything permanent until after the beginning of the new year. I got, work stuff that I'm doing for myself on the non-Titus world. I'm just going to be me, going to be, talking all kinds of weird stuff on Twitter. That's really about it.
Well, I tell you what, man, when you do decide you want to get the itch to maybe do something like this on a part-time basis even, you make sure I'm the first person you hit up, man, because
that's the truth.
The second go round, I just want to kick back and I'll basically I'll let you take the lead more. I put it to you that way,
Yeah. Well, whatever it's going to be, man, I don't know if it's going to be wrestling related. That's for sure. I just don't know. Wrestling's different, man. It's just a different world these days, and I don't know if that's because I'm just getting old, or if it's just something else. But entertainment, something entertainment wise, maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not even giving it a lot of thought right now. I've been retired for, 6 weeks or so, 8 weeks, my last show. So, I'm officially retired like 2 hours. So,
well, good talk as always, my friend. We're definitely gonna do this again real soon. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll say goodnight to the listeners and edit this real quick, but I'll definitely hit you up in the morning, okay?
Sounds good, brother.
All right, bro. Take care, all right?
All right, take care.
All right, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, one and only, the evil genius of professional wrestling, my good friend, Titus Machiavelli. Always love it when he comes by the show. Always have a lot of fun. Oh my God. Yeah, man, that was supposed to be just because we were ironing it out. We're like 90 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. 90 minutes. We'll come on. Yeah. 9:30 or whatever. We'll do the show. And that's just how it happens, man. Every time me and him get together, it's like two old friends catching up on lost time. Love it. Love it as always. And I didn't even have that much beer tonight. I only had one bottle of beer. Nowadays I kind of like having a bottle of beer. It just helps me get a little bit more loose for you guys. So I feel good though. Felt like it was a really good show. It sounded pretty good. Yeah, that Jim Cornette, it was amazing how like it was like we went on like this high and then we went kind of like with Jim Cornette. It almost kind of felt like the Benoit murder, you know. It's like, oh man, Benoit had passed away. Oh my god! And then it's like you throw out the condolences and all that shit, and you're like, oh, what a great wrestler, what a great career. You know, all the great tribute that they did for Benoit on WWE Raw tonight was really awesome. And then like as the minutes progress, you learn like what fucking Benoit really did, and then it morphs to sadness, to anger, to fuck Benoit. So it's, you know, for us, it's kind of like, oh, Jim Cornette, he, you know. And look, I still have a lot of respect for Jim Cornette. I still appreciate everything that he's done for the business. And honestly, if you ask me for my honest takeaway, and Epic Sports, if you're listening right now, brother, you're going to have a hard job doing some splicing, but make sure you put this combined with the talk of Jim Cornette earlier. If, in fact, Jim Cornette did say, hey, what went down with the sweatpants, I was only trying to make the gesture and it just came out by accident, you know what? I actually believe him. I actually believe him, because for as long as he's been on God's green earth, I've never heard of him out in public at an event or whatever just whipping it out for the hell of it, my pretty baby. So, I mean, I'm willing to give him the benefit of doubt. If anything, I just personally wish that, like, the shit with Santino and him, you know, life is too fucking short, man. You're not going to be around forever. And if I were to offer any piece of advice, all the people that have passed, take your pick, whether it's in the sport of pro wrestling or it's in the music world, because everybody that we've lost in just the past 5 years alone, if you can't get fucking melancholy over that shit to the point you want to make amends with people that maybe you had some type of bitter hatred, beef with, or whatever, it's like, goddamn, I'm not sure what will, but like, life's too short to be tripping over shit in the past. You always got to be moving forward, and in order to move forward, you got to understand what went down in the past. You got to embrace it. You got to accept the good mixed in with the bad. You got to learn from it, and then do what you can to move on. It's called evolving. So I hope before both men leave this realm that they can somehow get together and make peace with each other. Pretty good show, man. I mean, honestly, what else do you expect me to get into? We're almost getting into like a 3-hour show. What, you want me to talk about the pay-per-view? If I talk about the pay-per-view, that's going to take us to the 3-hour mark. And I got to get up for work at, I got to get up for work in like less than 7 hours. So here's what I'll do for you guys, because I'm feeling pretty damn good, honestly. Here's what I'll do for you guys. I did check out the pay-per-view. I will talk candidly about the pay-per-view. I will actually upload that to, where do I want to send that? What platform do I want to send that to if I were to talk about the pay-per-view? I will send the pay-per-view recap to Patreon. But what I'll do is I will let that be available for everybody to check out. So you do not need to have a Patreon membership or anything like that. You don't need to pay one of the tiers. That'll just be available for everybody to check out. With regards to the talk of Raw and SmackDown for this week, I still have Raw on the DVR. I did not get a chance to watch Raw, so I'm at a disadvantage right now, and I know like officially the Shield had got back together, so I want to comment a little bit more on what happened with Raw. So I'll hold off the talk of Raw. I'll hold off the talk of this week's SmackDown. I'll hold that off until Thursday, and what I'll probably end up doing, I'll do a little mini RCWR show for you guys, and we'll actually upload that. Honestly, I feel like Facebook. I legitimately feel like doing that on Facebook. So I'll do a RCWR show on Facebook Live for you guys. I'll come on at, let's say, 9:15 p.m. Yeah, 9:15 p.m. this Thursday. I promise I will not forget. My calendar will be clear. I will definitely be live. So if you have Facebook, you're able to tune in. Do join me Thursday night. We'll talk Raw, we'll talk SmackDown, we'll also talk about some more headlines. We'll consider it to be like a little bit of a companion piece to what we did here for you guys tonight. But I think, honestly, we covered a lot of shit on this episode. Y'all should really be pretty happy with this episode, because not everything is banging in wrestling these days, man. But there's definitely a lot more stuff I want to get into, especially Will Ospreay. Definitely want to talk about him on Thursday as well. Trust me, I've been paying attention what's been happening over there with New Japan. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at the RCWR Show. I was just talking about Patreon. If you enjoy my show, do support me on Patreon, patreon.com/RCWR Show. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Really nice interactions, very good points that you all were making. Shout out to my good buddy as well, good friend, Titus Machiavelli. Other than this Thursday night on Facebook, I will be bringing you all another installment of the RCWR Show on Tuesday night, October 17th. I'll be coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern as soon as SmackDown goes off the air. I know, right? We're going back to our regular time, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be nice going back to old stomping grounds. All right, that's going to do it. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Those of you that maybe just missed this, wait about 15 minutes and it'll be available for downloads. Spreaker has first dibs. It'll be available on multiple platforms in the wee hours of the night. Ta-ta for now.